what have you found makes a great defensive back?
Great
Okay, I'll
question.
say that's a good question. I'll say a few things, and I've definitely done a few posts like this before, so I don't know. There's probably a couple of things that I'm gonna forget, but the main things would be number one is speed, because if you aren't fast, you won't be able. Well, if you're slow, you won't be able to cover. You don't have to be the fastest, but ideally you can be. So if you aren't quick, fast receivers are gonna run right by you. Fast running backs are gonna run outside of you, and when you test your 40 and it's bad, coaches aren't going to want you. So speed is really important because you need it. And then the other thing is it makes everything else easier. So the faster you are, if you have a bit sloppy footwork or if you kind of lose balance on one level, you got to catch up with somebody. It makes everything else a lot easier in terms
Yep.
of breaks, staying with guys. Your technique could afford to be a bit more sloppy. So speed is essential and it really helps with everything. Number two is eye discipline. This is what I'd say is the second most important thing. You have to have good eyes, knowing if I'm a man, I got to be looking at my guy. I like to say hips pretty much all the time. And then knowing when to look back at the quarterback. If I'm in zone, knowing how to make my reads, not just lots of young guys will do this, but just stare at the quarterback the whole time. And receivers will run right by them, or they'll drive up on their short route and they'll throw a post in behind them. So knowing where your eyes should be every single play is very important. And then the third major thing I would say is the mentality. As a DB, I'd say it's one position where you're guaranteed to get beat at some point. It's funny, I put a comment on an Instagram post. It was saying how Travis Hunter got beat on this play or whatever. And I commented, there's only one DB that doesn't get beat. And guys were replying, who is it? Who is it? I said, it's the one who doesn't play. Because if you're on the field long enough,
Nice. That's a great line.
if you're on the field long enough, well, actually, my university DB coach, Coach Ben Dandria, he didn't say that specifically, but he was saying if the only reason you haven't got beat is if you haven't been playing. If you've been on the field long enough, you're gonna get beat. Maybe you won't get mossed in a crazy way, but somebody's gonna catch a ball on you. You're gonna miss a tackle at some point. So you just have to be able to reset your mentality and always lock into the next play. Whether you made a really good play or whether you made a really bad play, every play in football is a new opportunity to do something great. And if you don't take advantage of it, something bad might happen. So DBs have to be locked in every single play. The example that you'll hear me give every time is Malcolm Butler, the Super Bowl interception.
Yep.
2 plays before that was that crazy catch by Curse when he caught it kind of on his head and it bobbled and he caught it on the ground. So picture if he didn't have a good mentality, if he lost confidence, if he didn't drive out of that break on that interception play the same, then he wouldn't have got that one of the best, probably the best pick, maybe in NFL history with the Super Bowl on the line to seal the victory. So you
Right.
just have to be able to have that mentality every single time to reset and just lock in on the current play. So those would be my three main pillars for successful DBs.